Welcome to the Sunday, April 12th, 2026 Massachusetts Pirate Party member meeting. My name's James O'Keefe, resident of Somerville and party chair. Would others please identify?
Steve Revelak, Arlington.
Eli McGee, Leominster.
Joseph Honorowski, Lowell.
Thank you all very much. So, are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Nothing here.
All right. So for reports, the conference page is up at US Pirates. Events are up at US Pirates and Mass Pirates for the conference. Sign-up sheets are not yet up, but hopefully soon. The House decided to drop a kid censorship bill, child and teen censorship bill. That went to a vote on Wednesday. So for Pirate Party stuff, that was kind of my focus, trying to get people to call about that. Sadly, it won. Interestingly enough, there were two Democrats, both progressive Democrats in Somerville, Cambridge, who voted against it. And most of the Republicans, such as they are, voted against it, which is kind of interesting. You'd think they'd be the ones for it, but I guess maybe even sometimes they support free speech. So there's some various groups are working on that, but we can get on. That's later on the agenda. So any other reports? Okay, going into decisions endorsements. So Joe, you had put forth an act relative to protecting access to applied behavioral analysis services in schools, excuse me.
Unfortunately, I don't have an update on that. It doesn't look like it was moving forward as far as I could tell. There was already a hearing, and I wasn't able to hold the hearing. So I'm not quite sure where that bill is at. I think the next step was to reach out to the senator who put it forth, unless there's an update on the page right now.
Yeah, I don't see anything beyond what occurred on January 27th. Oh, well, sorry, the hearing on February 10th, which is probably recorded somewhere, but I don't know. I'd have to go digging to find it. Well, nevertheless, if that's the point, is to decide, is this something we want to support, and ask members to contact their legislators about. I know I went over the bill and did some research talking with folks about the particular therapies involved, and they, from what I was able to tell, they come recommended for types of for some people on the autism spectrum of various ages, but especially youth, or like under 5.
See, the
And so,
challenge is
yes.
With this particular thing and what this bill actually addresses is not just kids on the spectrum, but a lot of kids who are having emotional dysregulation, who are having trouble managing um, expression, a lot of therapies that are just absolutely with kids that are on IEPs, which is individual education plans for people who don't know what an IEP is, but with kids who are just absolutely struggling in school, struggling in the school environment. Um, the schools are just not equipped to handle behavioral kids. And a good example is my own, where my son, if we had this in place, um, I would be running for office right now because the school would have the support it needs. My family would have the support it needs. I wouldn't have had to step back. Um, I would still be working. I would still be doing what I need to do instead of having to take all this time off. So this is very much directly impacts me. It very much impacts every single more severe case of families across Massachusetts who are now being scrambling to try and find a solution for getting their kids the support and help they need in order to be independent, in order to, and in my particular case, my son, absolutely brilliant, but it's very much a frustration tolerance, and he gets very difficult to handle because of his frustration and his wanting to escape. So in and that causes behaviors and maladaptive behaviors. And unfortunately, the only one that can handle him is me. And so that puts a lot of stress and burn on my family. And I know that there are a lot of families, and it's an ever-growing thing where there are more and more families, and schools are overburdened. And so they're just kicking kids out of the school districts because they don't want to be the ones responsible for being in charge of these kids. What this bill will do is that it will give the schools the tools they need to keep the kids supported in the classroom where they belong so that they can get a free and fair education as mandated by law. And so this will give, if they need more support in the schools for a particular student, instead of paying like $250,000 per student. So just 4 students, that's $1 million out of the school system. They could spend a fraction of that and get the kid the support they need and not take them out, you know. So this will save the school systems, one, tons of money, and two, this will get the kids who need the extra support their support. So, and it's not just not just kids on the spectrum, but kids with like ADHD, kids with anyone who needs applied behavioral. I mean, there's a lot. It says autism spectrum disorder, but it's a huge spectrum of different types of kids. So it's a very broad brush. So it was very well drafted from the representative from Worcester, and I think a lot of care and a lot of thought went into it. And just kudos to that gentleman who drafted this. I think it is a great piece of legislation.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate your getting your take on that, especially as someone who definitely would benefit from such services. So I wasn't sure from it where is there any additional money provided in this? Trying to
So
understand.
what happens now is if a kid needs ABA, the school has ABA services. So what happened with my case with my son is that he was getting the speech pathology, he was getting the ABA, the BCBA, but they would rotate 2 BCBAs for an entire school. Whereas what my son Adam needed was a BCBA for himself plus 2 to 3 RBTs at one point. Right now he's down to 2 RBTs and a BCBA with him. And we're slowly getting to the point where he just needs the RBTs because the program's working and etc. that. But um, this would allow the school to have the flexibility that if he needs a BCBA or if a student needs a BCBA all the time, instead of just having 2 for the school, they could just bring in a BCBA from an outside contractor and just bring them in and allow them to get the support that each kid needs. So outside BCBAs from a school system aren't allowed to come into a school system. They would have to be hired directly by the school system. This would allow them to outsource BCBAs on an individual basis, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Thanks, Joe. So rather than be limited by the folks they have on staff, they could bring people in
Yeah, they could
externally.
get staff. Yeah, they could get
Okay.
staff a la carte as needed, and allow the school districts to have the flexibility to come and get the support an individual student needs. And again, it's a lot cheaper to bring in a BCBA and 2 RBTs than sending them to another district policeman. One, it puts a burden on the family for having to it puts a burden on the family because the student is now out of the house more. Um, and it puts the cost of transportation on the school district. It puts the cost of paying for out of district full, like places like Melmark and stuff like that. It puts a lot more huge, unbelievable amounts of cost to support these centers. Whereas the student then loses all access when they go to those centers, even though it's not a complete loss of education, it's pretty much setting the kid off and not allowing them to get an education. And they're not going to get the same level of education. And a lot of these kids are really brilliant. They're just they're trapped and not getting the support that they need. So again, it gives a lot more flexibility to the families, to the school districts to do what they need to do on a case by case basis.
Thanks, Joe. Do others have questions?
No, this seems like a good idea. I would support it an endorsement, or however folks would like to frame it.
Sorry, you were going to say
Well, not
something,
just,
Eli?
I just said I had the same opinion.
Okay.
and
You
just
were
to
sorry.
add,
Yep.
in one quick note, there are other states that have already adopted this. So, like I think Kentucky adopted this principle, and I think Florida did. There are states that have already adopted similar measures, and it's working absolutely fantastically there. So, I mean, and Massachusetts is like one of the first real blue states to adopt this, but I mean, if it's working for families and centralizing the support structure and really codifying what we're doing for these kids. So again, it just gives us another tool, another feather in our cap.
Thanks, Joe. So shall we put it to a vote then? Whether to endorse this? Or to endorse this? Let's phrase it that way.
Motion to endorse.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Joe. Put something up in the next email. So the
All
next
right,
top, yeah, go for it.
real quick, I'm sorry, should I still contact the senator to see what happened to this bill?
Yes, please.
Or representative? Okay.
Yep.
I'll try and do that this week.
Yeah, that would be good. So if we know, oh, these, so that we can tell our supporters who are the people they need to contact to move this bill forward. We don't want them to contact everyone if it's in a particular committee. We would need to. So knowing where it is in the committee would be better for people's for the effectiveness of getting this bill passed.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, so
From the state house, from the state's, the legislature's website, the joint committee is no longer accepting comment for their hearing items related to their hearing on the 10th. So yeah, I'm not sure where this is. My understanding of how the legislature tends to work is, leadership decides what to move forward, and leadership, one of the things that influence that decision is what they, what House and Senate leadership hear from, our representatives and senators. So this would be, I think a little note to your state rep and state senator would be appropriate here.
thank you for that update, Steve. That clarifies things. All right. So as I mentioned, the House amended S-2581 to basically ban anyone younger than 14 from using a very broadly defined social media services, which interestingly enough would include Wikipedia and our own site, because both of those allow people to create their own content, namely comments or edits on Wikipedia pages, and also require that. And so if you had a 12-year-old who had a Wikipedia page and was making edits, suddenly their account would have to be destroyed. And then it would also require 14 to 15-year-olds to get their parents' permission and give their parents a lot of information about what they're doing. 14 to 15-year-olds deserve privacy. So I've put forth, I mean, it seems like something that we've spoken out against in the past. I wanted to brainstorm actions that we can take to oppose this bill. One idea I came up with is if we can get like a poster, even at 8.5 by 11, that people can put up outside of high schools with, here's who to contact to complain. Someone's trying to go and take away your rights. That would be hopefully a receptive audience. Other thoughts?
Yeah, privacy is not an ageism issue. It's an everyone issue.
Amen. Other suggestions?
We could do bumper stickers.
Well, there was Fight for the Future had a statement that they were looking for co-endorsers of. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. I read their statement. I agree with it. I don't know if others have had an opportunity.
Yeah, I read through it as well before the meeting, and it covers the bases. So I support it as well. And then I emailed it to the mailing list.
Could we tweet it or like share it publicly?
I mean,
with our stuff?
once it's public, absolutely. I wouldn't want to do it before it's public, but
Wait,
yeah,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely.
but did I'm saying the Fight for the Future stuff, just like share it, retweet it.
Yeah, absolutely. But do
Yeah.
we want to endorse it? Do we want to be one of the
okay.
signatories to it?
Oh yeah, I fully support it. Motion to endorse.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Cool. Other ideas? I mean, does anyone know any good graphic designers I could reach out to? My graphic designing chops are not as good as I might like.
Actually,
Yeah.
why not for graphic design? We could incorporate a local high school, like a technical school. So, I know that the graphic design shops at a high school, we could ask any number of the high schools around to do a graphic design project for us.
I was thinking people who are supporters or anyone you know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, certainly encouraging them to do that. Like that could be, here's an action item. If you have graphic design skills, go and put up your own posters. But I don't have an in on any, my kids are too old. An in on any high schools, graphic design programs.
I could ask around.
Please.
My week is filling up quickly, but I can, if you could send me a reminder later this week, Tammy.
I will do that. And I can certainly put together some text to go into it and basically like a bare bones thing, but it's, I'm not going to make it look nice and sexy. So
Yeah, their job is to make it look.
Say that about 14 and 15-year-olds. We can't use those words with them. Anyway, sorry. That's not to say that anyone should be doing things with anyone they shouldn't, who doesn't consent. Remind people of that. Okay, so great. So support the bill. See if we can come up with posters to put up. Tell our members to call their senator. Get people materials. Maybe even do a bumper sticker if we've got time. Or maybe stickers. Stickers aren't a bad idea. We could probably get like a rolls of small stickers that people could put up in opportune places. I'll leave it at that. It's up to them. All right, should we move on to the next topic then? All right, Eli, do you have an update on U.S. Pirate Party issues?
No, there hasn't been anything too eventful. I'm assuming someone already said that the event, the conference theme was announced, hopefully. Or
What was it?
just about. There hasn't been too much of an update. I just wanted to make sure that people knew that the conference theme was announced a little while ago.
And what is it?
Oh,
for people who listen to the recording,
oh, okay.
what is it?
So basically, there is like a giant 800 word, or not 800, but like 200 word version of it. But the shortened version of it, and that's going to be used in any sort of like advertising and stuff, is going to be hoist the color and spill the tea.
Nice.
But other than that, there hasn't been too many updates.
Thanks, Eli. Okay, so segueing into June 6th National Party Conference, I gave a quick update on that. I mean, we need sign-up pages for speakers and for participants. There were some issues that need to be resolved, but that'll hopefully be done by mid this week. For Pirate News, the last recording. So actually, for the National Party Conference, should we have a I'll talk with the National Party folks and see how they want to organize this. I know I reached out to them, but I have been swamped and haven't followed up on that. So if there's going to be, if we should do a regular meeting to check in on stuff like that. And then for pirate news, the recording sits on my hard disk. I'm sorry. It's been a lot. And but I will get it edited and out. Do we want to meet next Sunday?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. And as far as the national conference goes too, I know that my family is really looking forward to the Sunday duck boat tours. So I think that I'll probably be swinging to seeing in the shade in Boston Harbor, listening to bad jokes.
Nice. Okay. Are others okay with next Sunday recording?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I think the only other, yeah. The only other item is, so we're, folks running for towns or state rep, state senate, they need to get it done soon. And I kind of feel like for the party, we're past the point where we can do that. So now it would probably make sense to focus on 2027. So I will take the 2026 campaign plan and make the 2027 campaign plan, and we can try that again and get some things done well in advance. And then there's several upcoming events that'll be up. One is the Cambridge ShotSpotter folks will have a community dinner, or Cambridge Stop ShotSpotter folks will have a community dinner on the 25th of April, 6 p.m. at the Pisani Center in Cambridge, in prep for upcoming city council meetings. Well, city council meeting on the 29th, and then which will be at 3 o'clock to turn out to hopefully vote on getting rid of ShotSpotter. And then May 3rd, if I recall correctly, is a Cambridge Somerville Pirates meeting. That'll go up soon as well. And then, then later in June will be the Boxborough Fifers Day. That would be, yeah, so that would be the 20th of June, if I recall correctly, is the Boxborough Fifers Day, which we will have a table at for several years
Hey,
running.
Jamie.
So be nice. Yes, Joe.
Quick thing about the conference, if there are enough people that want to do the duck boat tour instead of the walking and we know in advance, we can get a group discount. So that might be worth bringing up during the planning for it when you talk about other things with the national conference, especially if there are people that don't want to do as much walking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or have families.
Know what the discount is?
I think we have to call in for it, but I mean, even a few dollars off would be nice.
Thanks. Okay. Anything else to discuss?
No, that was all I had.
Eli, Steve?
Nothing here.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Yes.
Pirate noises.
Aye.
Okay, with that, thank you, Eli, Joe, and Steve, and thank you who have watching this and have come this far. You can, of course, find us at masspirates.org. You can email us at info@masspirates.org, and like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, give a comment.